It's mulch time! All right, so when you checked in, I'm guessing you got, if you're a driver, you got your little information sheet, like the here's how to do things safely, delivery team instructions.
Who are you, sir?
Is this, oh, I'm sorry. My name is Brett. I'm the yard boss for the Mulch Madness weekend. I have a junior rower, Matthew, and I have a 21-year-old who's home from college cooking dumplings right now, and I'm here. So he rode, Evan, the older one, rode for 2 years, and then Matthew's in his junior year. So I've got plenty of Mulch Madness experience under my belt. I've been exactly where everybody's been, with all the good, the bad, and the other. So I'm happy to answer questions about Mulch Weekend or literally anything in general. Okay, any questions about that part of it? Cool. So does this? So let's talk real quick safety and kind of the whole shebang. Does this look familiar to everybody? Yes. Okay. I know better than I've got presentation skills. I know better than to ask that question. It's supposed to be asked in the other direction. All right. So we're going to just kind of go over flow. How many first-time Mulch Weekend experiencers? Awesome. All right, cool. So as much kind of buzz as there's been about this weekend, it's that much fun. It really is. We've driven chase cars. My wife and I, we've driven chase cars. We've driven trucks. We've done food. We've done the yard. It's literally, it's all fun if you just choose to have the right mindset, right? Driving a chase car. Her favorite thing, right, we've got two boys. Her favorite thing was driving chase and lead with the girls because she said, they just talk like nobody else is around, and it's awesome. I learned all kinds of great stuff. So it doesn't matter what you're gonna be doing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. You're gonna be tired. The rowers are gonna be tired, but this is like the coolest thing about, well, aside from the whole rowing thing, the rowers won't think it's the coolest thing, but like for us, you actually get to see them work hard and accomplish something that is really kind of like a corporate size event. 20,000 bags of mulch getting delivered in a weekend. I mean, that's not a 9th to 12th grade kind of accomplishment, right? And to see them actually do that, I think is a pretty awesome thing. Okay, so I'm going to kind of couch this towards the, because we've got mostly freshman parents or novice parents anyway, so I'm going to couch most of this towards those who have not experienced it before. Anybody who has been there before, as we're moving through, I am absolutely not the tested expert on all of this stuff. There are going to be things that are missed and things that can be explained better. Please feel free, if you hear something, you're like, actually, I think that could be explained a little better. Stick your hand up and take the floor and have at it, okay? From the novice perspective, as we're moving through, please feel free to engage in conversations. If it's a question I'm going to address later on, I'll tell you so. Keep it in your mind. If I don't do a good enough job when we get to the end of the brief, please hit me again with it, all right? So here's the number one most important thing. There's a lot of places where people can get injured during Mulch Weekend. And there's a lot of places where that injury can be prevented and mitigated if we, as the collective adult supervision, are willing to engage when we see that risk first kind of peek its head out. So the most important place where I need you guys to engage is when you see the leadership doing something, either on the yard or whatever, and it makes you kind of scratch your head. Don't presume that we see the truck getting ready to back into the, to the mulch pile. Don't presume say something, yell, point, be directive. Hey, do you understand? Okay? The worst that's going to happen is whoever you're talking to is going to go, yep, got it, thanks, I appreciate it. All right? I'm telling you that nobody on the leadership team for Mulch Madness is going to take offense at anybody trying to engage from a position of safety. All right? So please don't be presumptive about we see everything. Be engaged in anything that you see that's a possible area of risk. All right? Shameful day when a pilot puts on glasses, but that's a whole different brief. All right. So 3 basic driving responsibilities: lead, chase, truck driver, right? Like I said in the video, you're all part of the safe truck driving crew. So make sure you're talking, having conversations about this kind of stuff. Very important that we have one person assigned duty as the manifest coordinator. It doesn't matter who it is. And before I get too far down the rabbit trail, all of this is basically lessons learned, observations. It gets tweaked at the end of every single mulch weekend. So this is years of kind of aggregate corporate knowledge. It doesn't mean that it's the right solution for your individual situation. So take this and make wise decisions about how you're going to divide responsibilities, how you're going to manage stuff, okay? Just make sure that they're informed and you're being smart about it. You don't have to, this isn't dogma. Nobody's going to show up and excommunicate you from the crew club if you don't follow one of these pieces here. Just realize there's a lot of corporate wisdom in there. So if you're going to make changes, just make sure you're thinking about it. All right, so lead, chase, one of you is going to be the manifest coordinator, and it's not going to change. Okay, that's one of the important parts of running a safe event, is having assigned responsibilities, understanding what your responsibilities are, and then remaining in that role all the way through. So if you're driving on Saturday and you're the manifest driver, you got count responsibility, right? If you're the chase, whichever driver that might be, right? So lead, chase, stay in those positions. Don't swap out, hey, I'll do lead half, you do lead half, because you're going to learn lessons about what you're looking for in tree branches and all that kind of stuff as you're doing it. So stay in the same place. When you show up, check-in is going to be at, actually, let me run through real quick. There'll be numbers in the, I need to talk about this now because I didn't have time to order my slides. There'll be numbers in the windows of the truck. So when you get to dispatch, they're going to give you a box, which we're going to show you here shortly as an example. And you're going to get assigned a truck number. Just go, when it's time, head into the yard, find your truck number. They'll be in the windshield, okay? So the first truck will have this one. The second one will have this one, this one. The third one will have this, okay? You getting the, right? Understand kind of where we're going here? That's like that because I'm printing them out for the truck. I wasn't trying to be.
Truck all day?
The what?
We keep the same truck all day?
Negative. Great question. So you are not in the same truck. As a matter of fact, when you leave the truck, when you come back, and we'll talk about the flow here, but when you come back, take all your personal gear, your box, and everything that's yours out of the truck. The only thing that should stay in the truck are the keys and anything that was in the truck when you climbed in. Because when you get assigned a new route by dispatch, they're going to send you to a particular truck. Some of the routes need an extra 5 bags or 3 bags less or whatever. That gets loaded onto a specific truck that I communicate with Sabode. Sabode, where you at? Dispatch right here, Sabode. I communicate with him which truck's got that load, and so when he gives you that box or that dispatch sheet, he's going to say, go to truck 10, go to truck 7. So pay attention to what truck you're going to. Don't leave anything in there, okay? Just to kind of orient everybody, this is a lot next to the tennis courts. You got the road down here, boat rack up there, okay? Obviously all the cars will be gone. I got a better diagram here on the next slide, but this is just to kind of orient everybody where it is, or where all of the pieces and parts are. So basically, we're going to put a whole mess of mulch up against the fence, back by the boat rack. Over on the right is going to be an empty flatbed truck that we're going to be stacking pallets on. Your truck recovery area is straight in through the entrance. Staging area. This is where everybody hangs out. On this side, there'll be a row of mulch pallets here too. So rowers, drivers, everybody's going to be hanging out over here. There'll be 2 tents, maybe more, maybe less, depends. But there'll be a section for dispatch and a section for check-in. This is where you're going to go check in. Adults will have a check-in table. The rowers will have a check-in table. When you get to the table, you'll get a box, like a little Tupperware Rubbermaid box. Oh, it's right here. You get a Tupperware Rubbermaid box, right like this. Okay? One of the things that's going to be on there is your car number. Your rowers are going to be assigned to you by your car number, right? So 1A, 1B, 2 cars per truck, except for the small truck. But 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. So this is in the mass of humanity so that you can hold it up and everybody knows where to go congregate. Otherwise, everybody's yelling, trying to get the kids' attention, and it's just crazy, okay? In the box, you're going to have an inventory right up front, right? I love working with people that have an engineering-oriented mind. So in here is going to be everything you're going to need: box cutters, scissors, duct tape, which is to seal up the bags, which you'll inevitably have a rip bag or a pop bag, Sharpies for taking notes or writing down anything that you need to take care of, pens, basic first aid, Band-Aids. If somebody gets scrapes, cuts, bumps, bruises, splinters, manage it where you're at. If for whatever reason rubbing dirt in it and putting a Band-Aid over it doesn't stop the bleeding, then come talk to somebody. We've got a bigger kit in the food truck. I've got a trauma kit in my truck. So we've got people on site that can manage pretty much anything. And it's not like we're out in the middle of the, Dolly Sod and the Shenandoahs. We're gonna be pretty fine, okay? There's thank you notes in there. You leave one of those with each of your deliveries. So basically that gets tucked, either taped on the bags or tucked in the front door, wherever it's most convenient. You got the clipboard that's gonna have your contact information, rower information for who's in your car, all that kind of.
The whole team information is there, so you have 3 copies, one for each car and the truck driver. It has the truck driver's numbers, both the chase car numbers, and all the kids' rowers' numbers.
Verify that those numbers are correct when you have your first meeting, right? You want to be able to communicate with everybody. Team contact information, truck and chase car driver instructions. And then also on the bottom are the 3 points of contact that you're going to need if you have questions or if something goes sideways, right? Which is Tasha, who's running the whole show, Subodh, who's running all the dispatch stuff, and me, who's running all the yard stuff and all the equipment and things like that, okay? So you're going to get that at check-in, and then from there you're going to step right across to dispatch, check in with Subodh. He's going to give you your manifest, which is going to look like, do we have a manifest? Did we pass out some manifests? Okay, no problem. So it's pretty simple. It's going to have your addresses, the number of bags. He'll explain, if you've got questions when you get it, he'll explain it to you. It's very, very simple. You count the bags at 2 places. You count total bags before you leave the yard. Manifest person, you get in the back of the truck and you count how many pallets times 40 bags, 45 bags per 45 bags per pallet, right? We're all going to be in the yard, we'll help you. So 45 bags per pallet, there's 5 pallets in a truck, and then any loose ones, right? So you just count and make sure you got 5 whole pallets, and then plus or minus from there is going to give you your total count. You want to make sure you got the right number of bags leaving. And then when you do each drop, they get organized neatly in the drop area. When you get to the site where you're doing the drop, make sure that the rowers are doing a nice job of putting stuff neat. Don't chuck it in the middle of the, wherever they want to chuck it to make life easy. Also be considerate of the fact that a lot of these places where we're dropping the mulch off, people don't have the time and or maybe the strength to move 48 pounds or 48 bags of mulch. So if you happen to block a gate, block a garage door, block a sidewalk, that you might be putting that person in kind of a tight spot until they can get somebody over, grandkids or whatever over, to move those things. So think about if you own the house and you were getting that mulch dropped on your driveway, does that make sense where it's being placed, and make sure it gets put there, okay? Stacks of 5 is as high as you go, and just put them in a nice neat line. When you show up, send a rower up to the door, knock, knock, as long as it's after 9 o'clock, knock, knock, hey, we're McLean Mulch, we'll deliver in your stuff, just wanted to let you know, deliver it all, and then go back, knock, knock, thanks a lot, here's the little thank you note. If they're not home, either tuck the note on the door or tape it to the mulch, okay? So that's the delivery side, the manifest side. As you move, the other count is once everything is on the, so you count before you leave the yard, and then you count the bags that are on the deck, on the ground, when you are just about to pull away, to make sure that the right number of bags on the ground matches the number of bags on your manifest, and then you'll initial, at the end of the run, you'll sign and give it back to Subodh when you go back to the manifest.
Where do you want the bags delivered in the backyard on the deck?
The only place we deliver bags is onto the driveway or someplace close to the driveway. We don't go in the backyard. We don't put 3 over here, 2 by that, 5 by this. They go in one stack in one location, and it's on the driveway. And if nobody's going to give you a hard time. If they give you a hard time, just explain that it's We don't do that because we don't want to put the rowers at risk. If we do it for one, we do it for all. And there's backyards where we just can't have the rowers climbing up and down stairs and sliding down hills. So it's a safety insurance thing. They go in one pile in one location, and it's on the driveway or someplace close to the driveway. Okay? So you count how many.
What about the Boy Scouts thing?
Yeah, so the Boy Scouts, so that's a totally different thing. If anybody asks you about the Boy Scouts, I don't know if we've got any slips. Take their name down, bring it back to dispatch, and I'm actually the guy that coordinates all that stuff for the Boy Scouts on that side. So in short, if they want any help spreading the mulch or moving the bags, just tell them, hey, the local Boy Scouts are willing to come out and give you a hand with that. Just get me your information. Is this still good information? It's on the manifest. Is this still good information for them to reach out? And then tell them there's actually a video going out to all 2,631 bags worth of customers tomorrow explaining this. So if they haven't gotten that video, they're probably not on the list. Come back and make sure you let Sabode know. He'll collect all that information. I'll gather it from him, and I'll reach out to them. Okay? Good? All right. So you count when you put the bags down, off you go to the next stop. When you come back, you turn in the manifest to Sabode. When you come back, and this is just big picture flow, we're going to go through all this in just section. When you come back, don't hang out in the yard, right? The kids are going to want to just kind of lounge about and do whatever. If it's cold, they'll all run over to the fire pit area and get some food and whatnot. But if it's nice out, they're not going to want to move fast because they're going to be tired. So you got to kind of do the whole, get moving and get them out of the yard so that they're not part of the problem. Okay, so decide which is lead, which is chase. Make sure you assign responsibilities, you keep it there. We talked about the manifest, so you're counting for 5 pallets plus and minus. 5 pallets puts you at 225, and then plus or minus if you've got one of the odd loads that needs a little extra or a little less. Driving. Do not be kind and stop at Starbucks or pop into a 7-Eleven for some water or soda or whatever, okay? It adds a significant amount of time. Stay on the route, follow the route directions. They are specifically designed, the route and dispatch crew, I can't even tell you how much time they spend literally poring over how to make sure that the turns make sense, how to make sure that the roads that are tight have the right trucks, there's like a lot of precision that goes into coming up with the manifests and the driving routes. Stick to the driving routes, okay? The more you stick to the driving routes, if that's not enough, the more you stick to the driving routes, the quicker you get back to the yard. The quicker you get back to the yard, the quicker we turn it around. The quicker we turn it around, the quicker we send you back out, the quicker everybody's done, okay? So please, please, please do not deviate from the routing order and keep the caravan together as much as you can. No unplanned stops. Do not, and I talked about this in the safety video. Nobody leaves without permission. Now there's going to be rowers that are coming in a little late. We got SATs on Saturday. There's going to be some rowers that need to leave for other events. That's pre-coordinated. Just make sure if you're driving them and they're like, hey, I got to beat feet, tell them, go to the checkout table and make sure you touch base on your way out, all right? I don't want to have anybody that's just cutting out straight from a chase car and splitting. It's not that they're going to be checked out necessarily at the check-in table, but it prevents people from going, me too, I'm going to a wonton making class, and they, whatever reason they're going to come up with, and then they split, right? There's that. All right, let's talk a little bit about kind of yard flow. So everything's going to be queued up in the morning. We're going to be there late Friday night, loading everything and staging everything. So it's going to look something like this. When we get there, everybody will get checked in. You'll get your box. You'll get your manifest. We will gather everybody for another safety brief. It's going to be a high-level overview of what was in the videos and what we're talking about tonight. It's just going to be to kind of bring it to the front of everybody's minds. Safety, 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 right? Then off you go to your trucks, to your chase cars, lead cars, however you're going to figure it out. we will be here to kind of flow everybody out. The first time all the trucks leave, it gets a little busy and a little crazy on who's where and how to get people in and out. So just be patient the first time. When you come back, you're going to come in, right? Chase car and lead cars are going to park down here on the road. If you're not driving a chase car or a lead car and you are here, please park out in the main entrance and walk around so that we keep the road clear for mulch pickup, for on-site pickup, for on-site sales, and for the lead and chase cars to park here, okay? So just please do that for us. The truck is going to come in, you'll get flagged in, and you're basically going to stop right here. The recovery crew is going to be in here, and once you stop, gather your stuff, and head over here to hang out, grab some food. Make sure all your rowers are getting food and getting water, right? We want to keep them fueled up. The recovery crew will clean out the back of the truck, make sure everything's good to go, and then the yard crew will bring it up and around. We'll load up pallets and whatnot, and then it'll be ready to go and you'll be sent off again. So your experience, that's the whole flow. Your experience as a driver is going to be pull in, stop, get all your stuff, leave the keys, get all your stuff, and come over here and just kind of hang out and keeping an eye on your kids. Don't let them wander too far, because when we've got a truck ready, not the truck you came in, when we've got a truck ready, Sabode's going to be yelling for, you know, Team 1A, Team 1A, where are you guys at? Team 1, Team 1. That's your cue to go over and say, all right, let's go make it happen. Then gather up your kids. You're going to run over here, find the truck number that you've been assigned, and go do it all over again, okay? If you let people kind of fragment, hey, I just need to run over to, you know, wherever for a coffee or, you know, some gum or candy, you're going to be short rowers, and then it screws everything up because we can't get the truck out of the way. It's a delayed route. It makes everything go longer. So make sure you're monitoring your kids and keeping control of your kids. Nobody rides in the back of the truck. I confess I broke that 9 years ago when I did this the first time. It was not a smart thing. I would not do it again. Please don't do it. When you're backing up, right, have somebody back there waving you back. And if you're getting this from one side and you're getting this from the other side, right, just be conservative, stop, right? Maybe one side sees something that the other guy doesn't see. So have the spotter back there, listening to him, don't have the radio blaring, be smart about how you're doing all that. The other, something, by the way, something that I didn't mention in the video that on some of these routes is pretty important is the fourth dimension of, well, it's actually the negative first dimension. Think down too, right? Some of these driveways are kind of sloped like this, and if you're backing this truck in and people aren't thinking about looking down, you can very easily put a nice looking gouge in somebody's asphalt. Okay, so pay attention on some of those hilly driveways that you don't wind up in that situation. Okay, so driving safety, take your time. If you're a truck driver and you don't have experience driving the truck, please just take your time. You'll get the hang of it. Something that I want you to think about is when you see big trucks driving and they're coming into corners, they don't start their turn like we started when we're driving a car, right? They do the big obnoxious extend and then turn, and they do that because the wheelbase is so long that if you start your turn where your body and your muscle memory and your instincts say it's about time to start your turn, that's when you wind up dragging the back tires over the curb, knocking stuff over, getting too close, scraping it up against the trees, things like that. Kind of extend until you got about, until it's about at like the 4 o'clock, the pivot point, and then start your turn a little wide. If you got to back up the first couple of times because you overestimated, no big deal. I'd rather you back up with a chase car behind you protecting you, right? I'd rather you back up to tighten up that turn than the first time you try and turn, you wind up pushing the mailbox over or hitting somebody. Mike.
Hey, Brett, one thing I was going to mention for truck drivers, be sure you adjust your mirrors before you leave the parking lot. That passenger side mirror, you will not be able to touch it when you're driving, and you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that means like every time, right? Because you're not getting back in the same truck. So check the mirrors every single time and make sure they're adjusted. We talked about reversing. The tops of the trucks are not part of not covered with the insurance, which means if you put a big gash in the top of a truck, that's something that comes right out of our pocket. That's not something that's covered by the insurance. So be very, very conscious of low-hanging limbs. We talked about backing up. I'm not going to read this thing to you. Don't let the rowers use the box cutters. If we have that's just kind of an aside, right? Because they're going to be distracted, they're going to be tired. It's not that they can't be trusted with sharp instruments. All right, it's not that all of them can't be trusted with sharp instruments, right? It's just straight up because you're going to look at them at the end of Saturday, and on Sunday morning you're going to be like, wow. I mean, they get totally spent, and they're careless, you know, like all of us when you're tired. So that's why the whole no box cutter rule with the kids. I almost said scouts, but that goes too, right? Where was I going? Talking about, oh yeah, some of the trucks may have lifts, Tommy gate lifts, that kind of things. Don't use them. They take way too long. They're a great way to get people's fingers pinched, big old gashes that need stitches, broken bones, all that kind of stuff, okay? Don't jump on and off of the trucks, right? The kids are gonna be all excited. They're gonna have a lot of adrenaline, especially before lunch on Saturday. Keep them settled. Don't let them jump on and off of the trucks. One twisted ankle creates an entire person that's not working for the team anymore as far as your delivery team goes. So it's, you know, we're not worried about somebody falling and breaking a neck. We're worried about them getting an injury that's going to keep them. I mean, I am worried about people. Let's be clear. I know this has been recorded. I am worried when somebody breaks a neck, all right? I'm talking about reasonable injury is what we're talking about. If they start throwing the bags, they're going to split open, so don't let them throw them. Make sure that they place them properly and gently. Double check your numbers. Keys stay in the truck. Every year, okay, so let me just put everybody at ease. Every single year, something happens to a truck. All right? It doesn't mean that truck driver is a bad person. It doesn't mean that truck driver was doing something inappropriate or unsafe. It might, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. If you're that truck driver, just tell us. It's not that big a deal. We'll fix it, okay? If you get stuck on the side of the road because you pulled off and you didn't realize that it's mud, it's not asphalt, let us know. We'll get it fixed. We'll have somebody come over and tow it out and pull it out or whatever needs to happen, okay? That's what Subodh, Tosh, and my job is to make sure that all those things get managed. Just if there's a problem, make sure you communicate, all right? So that's the damage. Manifests go back to Subodh. Got it. Rest and eat between. Power up. Max 15 minutes. You can anticipate probably 10 to 15 minutes of delay when you pull back in to when you're going to be going back out. And you can gauge that pretty well. If we've got 3 trucks parked forward right here, those 3 trucks are probably ready to go. If there's one back there getting loaded and there's 3 on front here, they're probably loaded and ready to go. So expect a 10-minute turnaround when you walk over and check in with dispatch. All right, and tell the rowers that. Make sure they understand. So your goal, your overarching goal is to keep everything rolling, okay? Safe, smooth, steady. Make sure that you're following that order. Safe, smooth, steady. Don't do things fast and don't push, but don't be languishing, kind of taking your time, overly like whatever. You're gonna have to motivate the rowers. So this is the whole motivation side of it, right? You're going to have to use your outside voice. You're just gonna have to do it. The kids are gonna be all over the place. They actually do have fun doing this. All of the mud and muck and all of the exhaustion and sore muscles might look like it doesn't, but they actually do have fun doing it. We tell them that every year, right?
That's our message point.
On the same line, I had a rower who was a lightweight girl for 4 years, great. But then my last year, when she was a senior, in my car, my chase car, was a small sophomore girl who insisted she could not carry any more plants at all. And
that is the expectation. If somebody has a physical disability, like if they're injured in a cast, that's one thing. But the whole, I can't, I mean, literally that word is not allowed in my house. Can't. Like, so,
No injury, no nothing, she just didn't wanna do it.
yeah. And so the answer is there's tools available to make it possible for her to do that. There's hand trucks, there's wheelbarrows, there's other rowers that can help carry it, right? But they're here to be part of the evolution. And
Someone being the shortest member of this club, right? I carried 50-pound bags 2 years ago, which is probably why I had rotator cuff surgery. But only the 2 little girls my size can carry a bag together, right? There is no, we're not going to carry a bag. It's like figure it out. Oh, my friend can help me carry it, right? So at least everybody's contributing.
There will be several of the board members do not have specific assigned positions but are going to be there floating. Come find one of us. We will talk to any athlete that thinks they're going to sit in the car and not lift 40-pound bags.
The turtleneck is for anybody who's tiny. The turtleneck is great. I too had years ago a very small girl on this team. On her back, no problem. She was little and
And what you're going to notice real quick on your first run is that you're going to have somebody, 1, 2, whatever works for your team, actually loading the bags onto the rowers from the truck down onto them. So the turtle is literally, they're going to stand here like this and the bag gets placed exactly into their hands on their back and they just walk away. There's no, I mean, that's it. That's the whole thing. Or if they're going to do it on their shoulder, which is where 99% of everybody does it, they're going to stand there like this and they're going to put a bag there and they'll say, another one. The boys are famous for this, right? Another one, and then the next guy comes up and goes like this, right? So be that as it may, after they drop it and it busts, then you can look at them and go, okay, so I think we found your limit, right? So you're going to get one less next time. Okay, so keep it moving. If there's an accident or something like that, call in, talk to Tasha, Subodh, me, report it, talk to us, and keep everything moving. All right, last part. When we are out there, the rowers are a reflection of our club, the rowers are a reflection of our school, and the rowers are ultimately a reflection of us as their parents and as the leadership of the club, okay? So don't tolerate any kind of stupidity, don't tolerate any kind of obnoxiousness, as you may define that in any way that suits you. But specifically, there's no cursing, there's no blaring music when you're hanging out in somebody's front yard, right? There's certainly no spitting and wrestling and roughhousing and that kind of stuff, right? I'm not telling you that they need to be acting like they're getting ready to walk into church, but what I am saying is that they should act like regular, rational, logical human beings, not like teenagers. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Questions?
How many kids per lead and chase car? So what's a team look like?
Typically 8 to 10 children.
What?
Typically 8 to 10.
8 to 10. Okay, so 4 to 5 kids in each car?
Yeah.
There's different mixes. So there's one team that has a car of 6 and a car of 4. But there are certain teams that are 5 each. There are certain teams that are 4 and 5. But typically between 8 to 10 is what one
And do you
team is.
mix it so that we have girls and boys? So
Yes, so there is going to be, that's what the 1A and the 1B are. So there's 1A is one car, B is the other car, one is a boy's car, one is a girl's car. And we've tried to, as best as we could, balance them out so we don't have freshman girls and freshman boys. So we tried to do the best to balance out the teams in terms of strength, endurance, and if something doesn't work, come back and talk to us and we'll see if we need to move people around.
And one quick other question, follow up. So what does it look like? How many times should we expect to do like this round thing?
We expect about 6 deliveries on Saturday.
Okay.
6 rounds.
That's for the large truck. The small trucks will do more.
There's one small truck and 10 large trucks.
So that's 6 cycles on Saturday, which will leave probably 4 to 6, depending on how fast, how quick, per truck on Sunday.
Sunday.
If we stay, like this is something that is, it's literally timed out, right? If you stay on schedule, if you don't dawdle, if you don't dilly-dally, and you keep the rowers moving at a safe pace, we will get 6, maybe even a couple of trucks will get 7 on Saturday, and we will be wrapped by about 2 o'clock on Sunday, okay? If you take your time and kind of let the rowers just goof off, you know, there was one year we were here until 6 o'clock on a Sunday. So nobody wants to do that, especially when you're that tired, okay? Because we got to get the trucks back. There's a lot of other stuff.
What was the wrap time on Saturday?
Saturday is usually somewhere around 6:30, 7:30, something like that. We basically go until we get the number of routes done we need done. We're definitely done before dusk. We don't want to put anybody in a position where they're like at risk because of daylight, right? Talking about rowers and cars, the answer is no. You can't swap with your buddy, okay? They're assigned to specific cars. We spent about 35 minutes on Sunday doing nothing, as an entire leadership crew around the table, doing nothing but studying the car compositions and the rowers and making sure that we did the best to match capabilities. So you don't have the senior boys and the senior girls and the freshman novice girls and the freshman novice boys on 2 trucks, okay? So if they need to switch for whatever reason, like we were talking about before, go talk to Tasha. But the answer is no if they ask you. They're staying in your car for the whole day, okay? All right.
They pick the cars. So as far as the individual car, the kids have picked the cars and the rowers they want to be with. So they should be happy in their cars. I want to add one more thing to
Please.
the cycle. When they come back and before you head out, please remind them to go wash their hands. Wash their hands, don't touch their faces. Just be as best safe as they can be at this stage.
And the main thing is like when they come back, the first thing they should be doing is going to the bathroom. Because when the truck is ready, we don't want the kids say, well, I had to hit the bathroom, and then like waste another 5-10 minutes. The cycling time should be between 12 to 15 minutes max.
Do they have to come inside, or are there porta johns set up out there?
Which one?
Do they have to come inside to use the bathroom, or they're?
There's there's a porta john, right?
Yes, yeah.
But we will have access to come in as well.
We will also be able to come in.
Coming in.
We're also looking into, are we still looking into getting portable sinks?
We have the boats.
Yeah, so we may, so somebody asked this morning, do you want to talk about the other things we're doing since there's this virus out there?
Yes, so the parent who had a concern.
Tasha, if I could just, because
Oh, sorry.
that's gonna, I'm sure that's gonna open up a lot of conversation. So just one last thing. Let's talk about that.
You forgot it?
I totally left my mind.
I have a small one. So what we have been doing in the past is like actually print out the maps and then let the drivers figure out how to go there. Last year what we did was we used Google Maps. So if you bring your phone with Google Maps app installed, it doesn't work with Apple Maps, but with Google Maps and neither ways. So you have to have Google Maps app. So if you have that, what we will try to do is we will give you a small link. If you enter it in your browser, the Safari browser, it will automatically should kick off your Google Map and it will have all the addresses. Okay? Now, earlier, Brett was mentioning about not going in various, your own routes. That the problem with this Google Map, it will try to take you to the shortest route. Do not go to the shortest route. This is specifically like, there are routes that we have to make a left on Kirby. So those routes, either you have to take Westmoreland and take a protected left at the light, or Great Falls and a protected left. So those are the only places that you have to be very careful. And then the places like, for example, if you have to go, there are deliveries on, you have to go through Old Dominion. So you go through Kirby, and then there is a very tricky entrance into Old Dominion. We have to avoid that. So either we can go to Old Dominion at Chain Bridge, or there are some other ways it can go there. So those are the tricky routes that you have to be careful with. And then we have generally seen, no, over the past many years, we have identified some tricky roads. So we know those things, and then we usually mention it, and then we mark it on the manifest. That way you're aware of it. And some of the roads, the smaller roads, try to be in the middle of the road, making sure there's no oncoming traffic. That way you can avoid the overhanging trees and not damage the rooftop. So, and if somebody wants to see how the manifest looks like, what you will get it, I have it, so you can come and take a look at it afterwards.
Okay, I remembered.
Woohoo!
And I thought of a second.
If you're bringing your phone, you also want to bring a charger because you're going to have that thing all day. So bring your car charger.
The as far as staying on route, the question generally comes up, if not on Wednesday night, certainly on the weekend of, what happens when the rowers have to go to the bathroom while we're out doing deliveries? Not with a stranger, but we're going to a lot of places where the rowers know where, like neighbors and things like that, right? So if they know the people that are in the house, they can certainly ask to use their restroom, all right? Generally speaking, you got to think that they're going to be able to hold it, right? They might want to go, but they probably don't have to go, okay? So a little bit of, yeah, let's wait for a few minutes. We'll kind of finish up here and push them, right? They're going to be drenched in sweat anyway, nobody will know.
None of the routes should take more than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Hour and a half is a pretty long time for a given route.
And then the other one that I didn't mention specifically is main road deliveries. There aren't a lot of them, but they are on some of the routes. Did everybody understand in the video where I was talking about using the lead car behind with the hazards on behind the truck, so you've got a safe workspace between the two? You kind of understand what I'm talking about there? Yes? No? Good. Okay. All right, now let's talk about.
I just want to piggyback onto this thing. If you go to a house and you find there's something that was tricky about that route, please make a note on it so that they can then take it into account for the next year. So all learnings go back into planning the next year. Okay, safety with the situation that we have. Just be smart about it. Make sure they come with gloves, and we will have a few extra with us in case they tear or somebody forgets it. Wash their hands every time they come back, especially before they eat. Do not touch their faces. No monkeying around. Avoid hugs. Avoid physical contact. And when they go, the danger is more for elderly customers that you're dropping it off at. So just maintain that distance and be safe. And we are going to try and get to hand washing stations right at the rear end near the food tent, if possible. So that will happen next, because there is no sanitizer available anywhere. Everybody's trying really hard. We usually have enough, but we don't. We're going to have extra tissue boxes. Just what they've been doing, just continue to do the same thing and be safe.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, is that decided?
Yeah.
Alright, so the location of the food tent is slightly different from the last few years. Earlier it was right in the yard. Now it's going to be in the snack bar near the track. So it's in the snack bar near the track, which
That's
is close to the
nice.
bathroom, so that helps as well.
That's very cool.
And Patty's going to send the kids go wash their hands.
Does anybody have any other general, broader mulch questions about any aspects? Yes.
Chase car get a map? It sounds like we have a box with a map, but I'm assuming the truck driver's gonna get that. Is the chase car get a copy too?
Well, everybody can use the Google Maps.
Yeah. The link can go away.
So
It's a link that you put in your Google Map.
Okay.
Make sure you bring the charger.
Anybody else, anything about mulch? It will all become clear, or not. So the coaches both forgot about the membership meeting, which is fine, because I think really we have other things to talk about tonight, so. But as far as I know, it's what I've heard and seen, everything is going well at practice. We have had a couple of cancellations. I'll talk later about how we make that decision about staying or going to the water. We are currently at 98 registered athletes with 49 boys and 49 girls. That's a lot. We haven't had that for a long time. Let's see. I'm gonna go, I think, to the budget.
Okay.
Are we ready to do budget?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I printed probably half the budgets I needed to, there are some in fact. The money is going out the door like crazy right now, that's what happens at this time. As I said, we're paying all of our bills, we got some bills I don't like to see, like launch expenses that happen, but we're keeping the rowers on the water. First bus payment went out last week as well, so if you have any questions about anything on the budget, just let me know.
What's our bottom line, Lisa? What's our number?
We're doing well. Obviously, the size of the club, we're larger than we budgeted. So that just means that we obviously brought in more dues and more fundraising. So that's all good news. What it will probably mean is that we'll be able to pay off the boat that we bought instead of financing it with reserve.
We did pay about 13,000 in dues refunds. I know it seems confusing or annoying that we ask people to pay and that we have them do refunds, but there are budgeting reasons why, and that we need to do it that way. We've also bought back uniforms from anyone who bought a uniform and was cut from the team. Let's see, fundraising, anything else fundraising wise, Sherry?
No, I think we.
You think you're doing enough right now? Yeah.
We're all set.
Okay, good, and we talked.
Lost your screen.
Well, how do I fix that?
Did the cord get
Seems
disconnected?
like I pushed the question button. Help me, please,
That
Brett.
is the help button, but that doesn't fix it.
That's not doing it.
Cheryl?
Yes.
While you're doing that, actually, we do have one point I want to make.
Okay.
If
What does that
you
mean?
need car repairs or new tires, please go to Integrity Tire and order repair, because when you go and visit them and spend your money there, which you're going to spend anyway, they will donate some money to McLean High School. So that's actually what I want you to mention. Yeah, you should mention that you're from McLean Food Club. Yes, absolutely.
Chris, I saw him, Chris Gardner. Anything on equipment you want to update people on, all the wonderful stuff we've got?
I think everything we need is in place, and everybody's got what they need. Any questions? We have family volunteers, though. We've got people driving all over Northern Virginia, picking up all sorts of equipment, carting it everywhere. Really appreciate everybody's help, because we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you.
Is there any update on the boat naming, Chris?
There is no boat naming.
We ended up canceling the boat naming because it was very complicated, according to the coaches, to get the boat from TBC up to the Mulch morning and back, which started to make sense. And we think we can still name the boat on a Friday afternoon or something, and apparently it's not clear that it's terrible bad luck to row an unnamed boat. Coach Jack's quote was, "Talent can overcome the bad luck." Apparently we're not that
We'll
worried.
have some kind of celebration at some point.
We will do a celebration, particularly because I think almost all of I believe our entire 2019 team will be back in the next 2 weeks, since all the colleges are sending them
I'm
home.
not yet confirmed, yours has been confirmed.
Well, they're coming. Where's Kate? Kate for rower operations. Look, all I have for you. Badge pickup.
Yes, thank you. Charlie has the badges, if you have to pick them up, grab them from him afterward.
Mostly this is gonna be folks, right, that had it, that are renewed?
Yes,
So-
well, some of them.
Some of them are newly through the practice, but if you've had a badge before and you haven't picked it up, we got it for you. So come get it. It gets you into the school without having to sign in.
Bus etiquette, we're still trying.
Your children are animals.
Would like you to please go home and encourage your rower to clean up after themselves on the bus.
With their outside voice.
So that,
With their,
yes, use your outside voice on your own kid, or your mean voice, or whatever it is you have. We're working on it. I am sometimes getting pictures from the bus company of the trash left on the bus that they're having to clean up. I actually had one of the older rowers who's a captain who's been assigned to the bus write me an email after his shift last week because he was appalled at what the novice bus looked like. So this is their own peers kind of disgusted by the way they are leaving the bus when they get off. So please talk to your kid that this is really their responsibility. They're allowed to eat on the bus, yes. They're not allowed to drop everything they've eaten and walk
and
away.
if you're sure it's not your kid, it probably is. I found that out.
Let's see, our all-team boat dinner is currently planned for Friday, what's the date, Cheryl?
April 3rd.
Friday, April 3rd. That will be before the first regatta that everyone is participating in. Barbara Benedict is chairing it for us. Do you want to say anything about
Yeah,
it? or-
you'll get an Evite probably at the start of next week. I've been hesitant in sending it out, giving to see what FCPS does with the school. But as we go into spring break, you'll get an Evite to tell us how many people will attend. It will be here in the cafeteria. It will start the evening early up the hall at the lecture hall. Any new parents will do Regatta 101. Answer all your questions about what you're gonna expect the next day. And we'll be having, after that session, we'll be having both the team and the parents, coaches, and the board come
Siblings,
together.
everybody's invited, siblings.
Pasta dinner here. So.
Right, and the Evite is really just a head count, so we know how much food
Yes.
to order. So if you guys can give us, how many from your family are coming, that would be great. The kids will be getting off their buses as usual and coming in after practice and eating. So you may want to be here 10 minutes before that happens if you want to get through the line and get some food, because once they come off the buses, it's a bit like locusts coming through the dinner. So, and then for spring break, our spring break coordinator, where does Sherry go? Still here?
Over there, far away.
Sherry has been working hard getting spring break lined up. Do you want to give them a sort of a rundown of the rough schedule and?
Sure. We have different food trucks coming every day down to the waterfront. There will be lunch for the boys at noon and the girls at 12:30. The girls will currently schedule not be having lunch on Monday because they have a regatta the day before. There's a variety of food. We have pizza one day. We have Rito Loco, which is like burritos type food another day. We have Italian, and I forget what the other two are. I don't know.
Barbecue.
And our Peruvian
Oh, yeah.
McLean alum, McLean Crew Club alum.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an
so
Olympic
we've all
rower.
agreed, the money can be used offers lunches. So, the website will be going live shortly, probably by the beginning of next week or so. When it does, you'll need to have your voter go and select what they want for
Have to
each
get a
day,
link.
because we'll provide each of the food trucks what